Hello, everybody. Hi. Hey, y'all. Hello, hello, hello. We are going to be talking about forgiveness and accountability, especially when it comes to Black love. Forgiveness and accountability, especially when it comes to Black love. Dr. Alicia is going to be joining us tonight. We know we love her. She is going to be coming. We're just waiting. Hey, Dr. Alicia. Hello, Brother Brewer. How's it going over there? Come on in the room, Dr. Alicia. Hello.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Oh, wait, I can't hear you. Let me turn the sound up.
Okay.
Okay. How's it been? How you
Good.
doing?
Good. I'm meditating all the time, and I feel like things are changing. There's some changes happening. Good
Whoa, do
things.
tell. What's going
Good
on?
things. Well, on the thing I told you, I'm technically not gonna like. I have to see the plane ticket, and then when I see the plane, because like I feel like I don't know how that world works. So when I see the plane ticket, I'm like, okay, I know this is real. But as of right now, I've given everything I need to get the plane ticket. So until I get the plane ticket, I'm like, I don't know. So
Oh,
we're just gonna keep
are
high
you gonna
hopes and high faith.
tell what happened? You gonna tell people what you're up to?
Yeah,
Or are you gonna wait?
I think I just want a big step and stunt. I think it's been we've been down for so long, and we coming like we just coming up. So feel like it'll be a shock. It'll be a
I,
shock to them all.
I like that. I like that. Let's wait. First of all, Jasmine has some excellent news, but we ain't gonna share it yet. We're gonna wait. It's something really interesting.
I know, right? I feel like it's gonna be life changing. But again, if I believe like I'm having to have faith, but I think everything checks out. So I'm just like, we're just
So I mean,
we're just
you better seize the moment. It's your time to shine.
yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. How has your week been? How is life?
Oh my God. Well, life is just moving along.
Yes.
Moving along in this world, nothing exciting
Yes.
happening like on your
Well,
end.
the conference is going to be exciting. I think we need to like just take a moment, and I booked my ticket to Charlotte, by the way.
Woo! Oh,
Yes.
did you tell? Did you
No,
understand?
okay, so one of my friends I think is gonna be there, so we're gonna like do a hotel together. But I'm excited to be coming. So I'm gonna be in Charlotte, everybody. Not that that matters because it's gonna be about the voices. And it's gonna have a barbecue, it's gonna have seminars, and also I saw we're doing speed dating.
Yeah, if we'll have speed dating, I think it's Friday night. I know it's Friday night. And then there's a VIP. People can get their VIP pass where and you can join the President's Circle and you can have exclusive access to Dr. Boyce. And that's on Friday. And then, yes, Saturday is all about business. So I'm
Yes.
going to be there in the audience taking notes. How can I run my business better? And
Absolutely.
yeah. And then Saturday, the theme for Saturday is going to be family. So I'm hosting I'll be moderating a panel. So we're going to talk about family and mental health and what are the gender roles and all of that.
Mm.
So I'll be posting that, and then I'm also doing a breakout session. I'm going to talk about trauma in the family and healing and all that fun stuff. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm hooking up with some friends. I got some friends from elementary school that I'm hanging out with,
That's so
and
great for me.
I'm excited. I am still good friends with um, all of the people I went to school with from the first grade all the way through the eighth grade. The same group
Wow.
of
So I have
people.
one friend like that. Her name's Jasmine Gully. We talked today. Literally, she's out in Palm Beach, Arkansas. She planned our 10-year class reunion. So I guess like when you go back to those spaces, you kind of reconnect and revitalize those connections. But I already purchased my ticket. But yeah, 10-year class reunion. Y'all keep me in your prayers, okay? Because it's just you going back to what seems like yesterday, but it's been 10 years, and it's like everybody looks different. Everybody got families. Some people married. Some people divorced. Some people, it's like, what the heck? It's like, and we all did this, and what we've become since we left college or since we left high school. So the fact that you still have your friends from kindergarten, I do have at least 2 friends, or one is an associate, but they're still alive. Let's say it like that. They're still alive. I see them on Facebook. I don't have a close relationship, but one that I do, and I've had her since pre-K.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great treat because this is somebody who they just know you. It's a familiarity that you don't get with anybody else. It's like when we all get together, it's like time stopped. It's like it's right back to elementary school, and we're still kind of silly and all of that. So I'm excited. I'm excited about the convention, but I'm excited about reconnecting, not just with my friends from the first grade, but reconnecting with all the people from last year's convention. It's just there are people who come every single year. And last year was like my first time kind of stepping up a little bit and doing stuff, and so I got to know a lot of professional people, a lot of the attendees, everybody that's there. So I'm excited about it. It's going to be like a class reunion for the B1 group. So I'm real happy about it. And it's a really good feeling. It's a good atmosphere. It's upbeat. It's fun. It's refreshing because we're all kind of isolated, and I never get to talk to people who are like me all the time. And so for that, it is really great. But don't take my word for it. You got to go there yourself and feel it.
Yes. So. And I'm going, y'all. So like, meet us there. Go grab your tickets. Be there in Charlotte. I know it's some good food. Okay. I know Bojangles chicken. Like that's down there. I like Bojangles. They size is a little sketch. But if you in the airport, Bojangles, it does hit the spot. And it got a good biscuit too with honey. I like that biscuit.
We went to Bojangles, and we actually flew to Charlotte to go to the Caribbean. And we were in Bojangles. That line, we almost missed our flight. That line was so long. I'm like, I know I can't get Bojangles in the Caribbean.
He said, Miss Jenny Mix said Bowberry biscuit. Yeah, like the stuff be so good. Like for me, if y'all have been following me in any capacity, y'all know how much I love chicken. Like I love chicken to my core.
Jasmine, what is it? Okay, I get that it's Jasmine. She's so random. You are random. I'm like, okay, Jasmine, I'm looking through your Instagram. I'm like, chicken. Okay, what is this?
So I have been talking about chicken all my life. I had my 16th birthday party at Wingstop. Like it's a core staple. On Facebook, literally everybody's like, where's the seasoning? Where's the chicken? Like, where is it? And I'm just like, first off, we're going to make this so scarce. So where you have to like sell me out anytime I even do it. But when I say I love chicken, it's something about God being in it for me. Like the grease, the seasoning, the flour. I plan to teach a chickenology course at colleges and universities. I feel like we need to know the history of fried chicken. We don't know how the chicken got in the grease. And I want to take us on that journey.
How the chicken got in the grease. There's a title. I like that title.
How did the chicken, how the chicken crossed the road? How they get in that grease? How did it get in that grease?
Okay. Well, I used to live in Louisville when I was a baby, up until when I was 4 years old. And so when you think about Louisville, Kentucky, all you think about is KFC. I don't know.
And I got a friend from Kentucky. Her name's Cassie. Fun fact, y'all go follow my friend Cassie. She has a Netflix show coming out, and she's on a reality show. So she's literally had no social media at all. And when she got on here, I was like, why is she on social? She gonna be on the Netflix show. I said that would be something you do. Yes, she went from no Instagram to Netflix. That's the kind of life she lived. And she's somebody that has hiked thousands and thousands and thousands of miles. Like she'll go to different countries and hike like 5,000 miles, something ridiculous. Like those Mount Everest type people.
Man, we hiked up Mount Washburn, which is the tallest mountain in all of Yellowstone National Park. Man, it's a spiritual experience. I will tell you that much. You really do get
needing prayer. You be needing prayer.
You have to, or you won't make it.
And then you gotta have snacks. You gotta have a backpack with any time. I'm like, first off, I'ma just pray for y'all. Like I did one good hike. That was all I needed. That set me free.
Man, that's all. One hike is all you need. But it's I mean, there were moments, it was emotional too. I will tell you that. It was exciting, it was cold, it was hot, it was snowy, it was all four seasons in that mountain. And you saw wildlife. Keep your distance from me. Wildlife. You saw like the edge of death. It's like me and death is right there. I'm afraid of heights, so I had a really difficult time. There were moments where I looked at Dr. Boyce and I said, we got to turn back because I am not going that way, because I was petrified of heights. Just thinking about it just really drives me, it makes me all excited. But and it pushes you, because there was no turning back. There was at a point of no return where we couldn't go back. We had to go forward. And we ended up bonding with a group of just random white people. We were just like best friends. Like we needed each other to survive. It was like race discrimination, prejudice, all that faded away. We were about survival, getting down that mountain together. We had to work together. It was really something, but it was a sense of like, I panicked for a little bit, seriously, because I'm like, I could just fall right on off of this thing. No one will ever find me. And I panicked, but then just sense of calm came over me. And I'm just this real talk here. Calm came over me, and it was like I got this urge to say, it's going to be okay. It'll be all right. It is okay. Like that just, I don't know if I told Boyce, the mountain spoke to me and told me it was going to be okay. And I just said, okay, it's going to be okay. And I just relaxed and just enjoyed myself. But it is, you talk about, and you listening to it, it's not going to make sense, but it only makes sense to people who are at the edge of death on a mountain.
And I can agree with you, right? It's like when you get closer to death, and what you said was so powerful, because right now we're in a different time. People's races, everybody is against each other. Like there's so much happening in the news, and it's just like the closer you get to death for anybody, the more we all become the same.
Oh yeah. Yeah, all those differences fade away. They were probably Republican, Democrats, liberals, progressives, I don't know what all whatever, gay, lesbian, straight, bisexual, transgender, it didn't matter. All of that faded away. We were all trying to survive on this hill, not just
exactly.
die.
And it's just like at that moment, you get to thinking, why can't we all be like that all the time?
Yeah.
Right? And today's show, I like to always interlude us some kind of way. Today's show, you guys, on the Drama Free Black Love series, we're going to be talking about being accountable. We're going to be talking about literally forgiveness. And I think the world could use a lot more forgiveness and also a lot more accountability. And I think that tonight's show, as I go ahead and I'm going to intro us in, y'all, I'm Jasmine, aka The Pretty Plug, motivate, educate, and inspire, while also providing amazing content with the lovely.
I am Dr. Alicia with Coaching with Dr. Alicia. I'm a therapist, a social worker. I work with couples, individuals. I also teach and train people how to become therapists. and I do a lot of writing and talking, running my mouth. Welcome.
Yes,
Who is on here with us?
Yes, Dr. Obed Magni. Mangu J26. I got Ebony Renee. She's a big stepper. She's out in Detroit. They're launching a conference. I'm enjoying that. I'm just looking at all the marketing. SYJ4. Maddie EO, Miss Jenny Mix. She know about some JJ's chicken. I done had that, honey. It's good. Mo Isis, Ain Art, First Lady Quadrillion. I've never seen Quadrillion, okay? Also we got Trey June in the mix. We got J3 Evans. We got some people that have joined us, and you guys, it's always a thank you in advance. I think this has probably been our 2 months strong of just consistent. I don't even know how many episodes we've done anymore. I'll go and take a target, but we have been coming on here consistently, trying not only to discover for me what true Black love means, but then also hearing from Dr. Alicia on her therapy tactics, on what healing looks like, on all of the different things that we can go through while also trying to have and manage a healthier life with a healthy love life. So with that, I got a question for you, Dr. Alicia.
What's your question?
We're going to just break the ice. Let's say somebody did something to me, literally talked bad about me, like stole from me. I'm in a relationship with them. Maybe they broke my heart. How do I forgive?
Oh, hold on. Wait, okay. So somebody did you wrong. Let's just pick one. Let's pick one example.
Maybe somebody in the audience. Has anybody done y'all wrong? And
what? Have you had somebody steal from you?
No, and I haven't. I steal a piece of my piece. That's okay. Take it on my piece.
Have you had somebody do you wrong? What did they do to you? Something that you could share.
All right, so I can give you, the person already blocked me on Instagram, so this has been
good. So the word, they won't hear you.
Yeah, they ain't gonna see it. So, in the world of entrepreneurship, you're often trading your time for money or your money for time, whichever one, and for services. And so I was working with a vendor in order to get some of my products out. Let's just say the product was some water. Of course, it's not no water, y'all. I'm not selling no water right now, but it was some water. And
chicken. Let's say chicken.
Something for my chicken, right? And
vendor. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's a vendor trying to get something for my brand, and I'm paying what I'm paying the price, right? Like whatever the intro is, the consultation fee, the whatever, I did my part. And for me, if the other business person doesn't have a process for me to follow, it gets a little bit more challenging for me to understand, like, expectations. Like, okay, I paid you my money. Do you give me something back in a week, 2 weeks? Like, what does that look like? I'm managing my timelines. Well, when we first got in business together, which technically we never really got in business, it was just a few things here and there, I was supporting another one of her clients. So again, I'm just like an innocent bystander. She helps with events. I'm supporting one of the women for the events. Long story short, as we're working together, my working style is a little bit more different. I'm more like, I do things based off calendar. I try to, map out things. I'm a planner. I know who I am. I'm a planner. As much as I try to do spontaneity, it don't work for my lifestyle. So with her, she literally said, hey, I'm off vibes. I do stuff off vibes. I'm a viber. And,
not a viber.
Right. And my thing is, well, it took me some structure to get you some money. I hope the vibe get back to me at any time. But overall, the relationship didn't work out. She literally looked at me in my face and was like, no, I don't want to work with you. And she didn't really have a reason. She was just like, you make me uncomfortable. You make me question things. Like and I was just like, I will tell you, in another life, literally the life I'm in, I'm a coach. I'm not coaching you, but if we're doing things together and I implement certain processes as a business person, I help people to get more clear, more consistent. I put things and tools in their place so that they can maximize on their income. Like, that's my day-to-day job. So if I'm working with someone and their processes are a little frustrating, I'm not coming to change you, but you will hear, hey, I'm expecting this, or hey, when am I going to get this? I'm going to ask you questions. And maybe I just had too many questions for the young lady. And she was more so working with people that ran out vibes. I ain't got that many vibes to give nobody. I got some structure, some processes, things that help to automate. Because I got a life and I got a schedule.
So do you feel like she did you wrong?
No, she was honest. I actually appreciated her. Like, some people will play like they like you. And every time she was just like, hey, I don't really like you like that. I'm really not fooling with you. And when she would tell me, it would shock me. But at the same time, I would be like, thank you. And she would be like, oh, that was so freeing for me to share that. I thought that would be harder than what it was. And I was like, you know, for me, it should be easy for you to relieve like whatever's on your chest. Because A, I'm not gonna fight you. B, you know, yes, it hurts, but at the same time, I understand that I can't work with everybody and everyone can't work with me. So it's just a learning lesson. But one thing I did try to share is systemically, and also just due to the way Black people have been pit upon each other, to actually do something together would have been a beautiful thing, like to work through the differences. Just like last week, we talked about working through conflict. Like, to be able to do that would have been so much better than just saying, you know, just forget you, done with it. Again, I get it. Sometimes we put emotions inside of our business. I'm guilty of it. But as I'm learning and as I'm growing as a business owner and a business professional, sometimes you got to put the emotions to the side. The facts are the facts are the facts. If I give you money, it is reasonable for me to expect a time frame or something where you give it back to me. And then if not, I need to find it somewhere in writing. Like, just have a process for me, right? Especially if I didn't give you vibes and I didn't say, oh, I just hope to work with you for some exposure. Like, I traded my heart on money in order to get something. So, you know, but I forgave, but it wasn't nothing to forgive because she was so honest. Did it hurt? Yes.
Okay.
It hurt because it was rejection.
Yeah, rejection is probably the worst feeling in the world. But I think, like, even though you don't feel like this lady did you wrong, and a lot of us do have situations where you feel like this person did me wrong, but you do have a legitimate grievance and a legitimate gripe for how things kind of dissolved and went away. And I think, you know, you do need to forgive that part and it's a conscious choice. I mean, it is just so tough because sometimes you are put in a position where you need to forgive somebody and they didn't even ask you for forgiveness. They didn't even care enough to apologize for what they did. And sometimes you're just left feeling kind of unresolved and unheard, but you still have to go forward and try to forgive them anyway. And I think, you know, that's what I mean when I say forgiveness would have to be a choice in that matter. And I think, you know, in that we need to understand that none of us are perfect, you know, and some things that I've done to people where they gave me the grace of forgiving me. And I just remember about how that feels. And so I try to give that grace to other people. And, you know, but I think about like how somebody has done me wrong, where I feel like they just did me wrong, and I feel like they don't even deserve being forgiven. You know, like they don't even deserve it.
At least you're being truthful. Some people will get up here and be like, you know, you know, just forgive all. Like, forgiveness is a process. It is a process.
I have to remember that I really do need to forgive because, for one thing, I have children, and the children, if it wasn't for, I don't know, I just feel like for my children, I need to teach them the lesson of forgiveness because, you know, children, I don't want to walk around harboring anger and bitterness and have my kids see that. Like, I want them to be able to know that this is how you forgive someone and you can flourish in that. And, you know, I would want somebody to forgive me. And so I need to give that sort of grace for others, even if they don't even ask for it. I also think that, you know, really, when someone does me wrong and they don't apologize for it, like, I always go, you know, well, a life well lived is the best revenge. I always think, you know, if I'm able to just focus on how I feel and and connecting with that pain and not having what someone did to me that I'm real upset about. Like, why couldn't we have this partnership together? Why couldn't we do some of these things together? It's like if you ruminate and you think about it over and over again, it has power over you. So if anything, forgiveness is all about taking your power back from that experience, you know, and saying, okay, I had a grievance with you. I think that you did me wrong, but I'm not going to give you the power to make me walk around angry and bitter. And I think like that's the key, you know, with forgiveness. It's really not for the other person. Of course, it's for you.
Yes.
And, you know, holding grudges is not going to give you any help. And studies show, there are a lot of studies about forgiveness, and they say that when you're able to really forgive, like really forgive, and to show that kind of grace, and know that everybody is not perfect, you know, when you're really able to do that, you end up you end up leaving and feeling more confident. You feel good about yourself. You walk around feeling like you're whole. Like, it really helps your mental health to focus on forgiveness. And I think that, you know, I do have a lot of clients that have a lot of regrets. Like, I work with clients about regrets a lot, and I'll have them to just write your story about what someone did to you that you wish you had known then. You know, write that story. And sometimes I'll say, let's rewrite that story so that you are the hero in this story. Like, you survived something terrible. Like, the story you just explained, it's beautiful because now you can say, this is what I learned. I learned that we were just different people. She was floating off of vibes. Vibes don't help me in how I work. You know, I tend to, like, I'm a planner. She's a viber. And it's not to say that I think planners and vibers can actually be really good, complement each other, but you can look back on that and say, you know what, I made it through. You know,
Yeah.
and smarter and wiser. So I mean, there's never really a negative that can happen to you, and I think that if you take that sort of approach, like lessons learned from this, and I ain't going to repeat that, I think it will help you to forgive.
Yeah. And what's beautiful about it is, I know in this state of time, like, I'm not holding it in because I've already went to therapy. Like, I went to therapy earlier today, and this is another part of my therapy, y'all. Like, just expressing, processing with y'all out loud. A lot of people in our community, you know, there's still a stigma around therapy, and I'm just going to continue to be an advocate that I go to therapy. I talk with therapists. Like, even today, I was talking about getting more like a life coach certification, just so I can understand more so of the mind, so that when I'm working with people, just able to discern better, like what I'm even dealing with, what I'm even talking towards. But I wanted to read some of the comments because somebody said we don't read the comments. So I was like, all right, like we do. So let me go back up. We had Unlimited Faith. She said, I had someone say to me before, and she could not understand why she felt that way, and she told me. So I think Unlimited Faith, she was acknowledging, like, somebody told her, I don't like you, and there's no reason. I don't have a real reason why I don't like you, but I just don't like you. And I think that's perfectly fine. I would rather have someone tell me, it's going to hurt now. Let's be clear. This is going to hurt. I'd rather have somebody tell me, I don't like you. Don't know why I don't like you, but I don't like you. Versus somebody that plain don't like you, they smile in your face, and then next thing you know, like they're really somebody that, you know, not really where they're not really beneficial to you in the long run. We have Maddie E01 says, Doctor, if you go to Africa, you are considered white. They will call you Hmong. The term is okay. Swahili speaking to refer white people dating back in the 18th century. Okay, I think Mr. Maddie or Mrs. Maddie, that may be a little bit off topic for today. And all right, I realize people are fallible. We've all hurt someone at some point, so I give people grace. And I think until you got to that point where you absolutely know that you're not perfect and that you do make some mistakes, like, forgiveness is going to be hard for you because you haven't even, like, learned to see that you've made mistakes. And I think that's where that accountability comes in. Also, INR says, what's the
Yeah, I want to comment on that because forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. It don't mean reconciliation. Forgiveness means finding your peace. I'm at peace with the whole thing. That's what forgiveness is. I mean, sometimes part ways and say, thank you for the lessons learned. I'm at peace for how this turned out, and understanding, it's peace and understanding and love and all of that. That's what it's about. But if you don't need to, you don't still need to be friends and still need to date that person and all of that, you can let them go.
That's good. And I
Mm-hmm.
had Art said, what's the point of being unforgiving? Who does it hurt? I do for people because I want to, not because I expect something from others. That way I don't feel like I'm lost or they got over on me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I agree with that. That's a good comment. Thank you.
Yes, I have my friend. His name's Xavier. He's in here. He said, man, that was the hardest thing for me to accept about some of my bad decisions in a relationship. And I love that.
Oh,
Taking I had in a relationship. He said that was the hardest thing, just to acknowledge that there were some bad decisions that he made when he was in a relationship. And I'm gonna be honest, like all of our breakups, it wasn't them. It was some of us. Like if I'm honest, like there were areas of improvement, and people probably vocalized some of those things. And I do know some relationships where I was like, I'm not able to do this, but also it's all a learning process. Like
mhm.
I think when we think about Black love and we think about forgiveness, it's finding someone that's willing to kind of put up with the parts of you that aren't where they need to be. And if that means like they stick with you because not because of your potential per se, but they genuinely love you as a person and they give you grace. And through love, people actually transform. I don't think nobody changes, but through love, they transform. So I think that brings about my next question, Dr. Alicia. Like, when you're in a relationship with someone, how do you know that this thing that they got going on is forgivable? I can give you grace and I can keep taking this that may not be giving me the peace, but I know that you're my person. Like, where do you go in that moment? Like, how do you get there to even know that that person is worth some of your peace being taken just due to their very nature?
Yeah. Uh, you gotta have a conversation with them. You need to talk to them about what happened, whatever it is. Like your friend, I don't know what this guy did in relationships when he felt awful. I don't know what happened to him, but just a scenario. Your partner is your partner is expecting you to come through for them, and you don't. And you
Yeah.
don't come through for them. I mean, you really do have to. You got some explaining to do. you
Yeah.
know and you have to say, you have to apologize. You have to, process what happened. You have to, we talked about accountability. You have to do that, and keep in mind that every single time you let your partner down or you let anyone down in the relationship, you are eroding away the trust.
Oh,
And it's really difficult once you break that. It's very difficult to overcome that. And so it's better to just be totally transparent, stay in constant communication with someone, be connected with that person emotionally so they know what's going on with you and they know who you are. You don't want to be in a relationship with someone and you're always questioning what's their real intention and what they're doing. That sort of thing is terrible to live like that. I don't know how do people live like this? And I ask questions like, how long do you think you can live like this? How do
wow.
you see the future with this person knowing that they don't take accountability for what they've done? How do you think the rest of your life is going to look? I will ask that question to my clients.
And,
With
and so
stuff.
you're basically saying like if you get into a relationship with someone and they display behaviors that delete parts of the trust,
Hmm.
you know, some things you can forgive, but that's not your person. Because let's say hypothetical, you fall in love with somebody and they repeatedly hurt you. Now again, it's I think this gets gray. Like let's put this in a marriage. Let's put this somebody has committed their heart, they soul, they locked in forever. And the same behaviors that they had as in the relationship, they brought it over to the marriage because ain't nothing changed but a chicken wing. But really, it's just like your ring and your license. But what they were when they were dating is kind of the same when you get married. But it's just like now they're doing it and you're like, no, when we got married, I knew that you was just gonna change. I knew you was just gonna be different. What do you tell that person that they done committed themselves thinking somebody was gonna change, but you know, the forgiveness and accountability was out a long time ago, like dating wise.
Yeah, I mean, it baffles me that we spend so much energy on planning a wedding. We spend more money on planning a wedding. We spend most of our time on trying to figure out who's going to be in our wedding party and where we're going on our honeymoon. We spend all of our energy on one day, and we spend little or nothing on how you're going to spend the rest of your life with each other. What are these expectations going to be? And it's cost to pay for someone like me, I'm a fraction of the cost that it takes to have a wedding. Yeah. I'm a fraction of the cost it takes to even get a divorce. So I need to up my fee.
Yes.
Divorce is expensive, weddings are expensive. Your marriage is what's valuable to you. So it just always kind of baffles me that I see, a lot of couples in my office that didn't have these conversations about expectations and what we're going to do, any of those things, before you get married. And then you get married, and right at the honeymoon, sometimes during the honeymoon, it's this big letdown, and you're wondering, why are things falling apart when you had a perfect wedding? Because you worked on it and planned on it, but you didn't plan on how to spend the rest of your life together. It baffles me. But of course, I didn't really know that in my first marriage, so that would have been nice. Would have been nice if I had that information. But we're talking about forgiveness and accountability, and I think that a lot has to happen. A lot of conversations need to happen. A lot of processing before you can even get to forgiveness. I think, people jump right to, well, I'm sorry. That's not, you need to hear how I felt, my side of things, why that was so painful to me. You need to have some empathy for me, and I need to hear you. Like, what drove you to want to do these things to me? What drove you to want to act in this way that hurt me? Did I hurt you? Okay, I hurt you too. Okay, what did I do? And it's you have to process all of that first before you can even get to forgiveness or even accountability or to say I'm sorry. People are a little too quick to forgive, especially children are too quick to forgive their parents who've done like really awful things. I feel like sometimes you just want to join with that person so easily that you're too quick to forgive, and you skip over and you don't process what actually has happened. Slow the conversation down, go through this terrible experience bit by bit, so that both parties need to know what they've done to hurt each other, why it hurts. And the fact that it hurts means it's got to remind you of something it got to be a familiar feeling. It's triggering something for you. Having a conversation about what is triggering, what should have happened. Like, so there's so many things that need to be processed first before you even get to, oh, I'm sorry. Because if you forgive too easily and you haven't gone through those steps to process things, it will happen again.
That's good. Mm-hmm. I mean, sometimes I just gotta listen. God gave me 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And what really did it for me is the fact that you said children are too easy to forgive fast. Like, how do you train a child not to forgive fast? Like, what does that look like?
Well, I won't say children. Let's just say adults. Adults who have had things happen to them when they were younger that was less than ideal. They tend to see things from the perspective of the person who did them wrong. And they, in and of itself, ignore their own experience because they're explaining things away. Because it's hard. It's like if your mom did something to you when you were little that shouldn't have happened, or your dad, or whoever it is that wronged you, it's really difficult to hold those two thoughts in your head. Like, I idealized my parents, I loved them, they loved me, but at the same time, I was a hurt child. So it's difficult to hold those two thoughts together. And, you know, a lot of people think, well, if I say something negative about my parent that did me wrong, then it's a sense of betrayal to my parent. But at the same time, I was violated. So it's really difficult. I find that a lot in my practice, of course, or just with people in general, that it's very difficult to process all of that, and then at the same time honor and respect our parents, right? That's what we were told to do. But sometimes our parents aren't perfect either. And of course it's important to show compassion and love for our parents, but it's equally important to show compassion and love for what you went through and what you experienced that you should not have experienced.
Mm.
It's a tough thing.
It is. Wavy 2019 said, man, especially in a relationship when you carrying this baggage.
Yes. You carry that baggage, and next thing you know, someone is doing something to you. It's unconscious. You don't even know that this is happening to you, but it can take you right back to when you were a child and you were accused of something or whatever happened in your childhood. You're carrying that currently. Like, the past is not the past. You know, the past is happening right now in the present, and you go back to whatever age you were, you react childish. All of us can be very childish at times, myself included. I ain't above all of this too. I understand. Sometimes I act childish, but I need to tell a story about what that reminded me of. You know, and I say, you know, and then after all of that, then we can get to apologies and accountability and I'm sorry's and makeup and all of that. But people who aren't willing to go through that process, they're not, when you said, you know, how do I know I should just give up on this relationship, or how do I know that it's worthwhile staying in? Anybody that's willing to go through that, is willing to join you in your pain, and you can join them in their pain, that's always a good relationship. So someone who talk about it with you, I don't want to talk about it, just refuse to talk about it, that's toxic.
Okay, so you just set some people free here, because in the millennial generation, it's like, you got a problem, I got a problem. Like, I gotta wait till I'm all of these things healed, perfect, before I can love somebody. But it's just like, we're never gonna be perfect. Ever. So it's like, if we both can handle our pains, navigate it, work through it, communicate it, then that's what builds this beautiful simulation of love and healing. And INR said, validate their feelings, let them know that their feelings matter. I repented to my children when I realized I got something wrong. That is so beautiful.
That is so wonderful.
So beautiful.
I mean, you could talk to your children about what you did. You could say, gosh, what I did was really terrible. How did that make you feel? And don't explain it away on your side. Focus more on, what was that like for you? How did you feel? What were you thinking? Talk to me about that, because our children bottle things up so much, and they don't have an avenue where they feel like they can kind of like get everything off their chest. And you asking that question, who's this guy? Who's this person that said that?
It's Ian Art. I think she's a woman.
You get a gold star today, because you're not perfect. What's beautiful about it is no one expects anybody to be perfect, right? But it's the process that you go through when you make a mistake. You know, and that's great. And nothing's worse than just like tearing a child down and then making them feel ashamed, you know, for and not having an avenue to release all of that, you know. And then these kids, they go around with all this hatred and bitterness in them, and then they go out into the world and they can cause havoc. So beautiful.
One thing I was looking at someone's Instagram story, and it was a father playing with their daughter, and you know how much that father admired their daughter, and it was like probably under 3. And it's crazy to me how the world is so fascinated with babies, but when the babies grow up, it's like, F them. You know, whoever they are, whatever they've been through, they just kind of get tossed to the wayside. But at one point in time, you adored. It's like the value of humans goes down the older you get. The younger you are, the more adorable. And maybe because you can't speak for yourself, you don't have any thoughts. But it's just like the same baby that you kissed and loved just grew up. They have their own thoughts and their ideas, but now we're in a world where it's so much hate, and it's just like, but that's confusing. I don't even know how to navigate that.
You know what? It is really a pet peeve of mine. I feel like compassion, care, concern, and understanding for other people is totally lost right now. Nothing bothers me, gets me going more than when I hear comments and when I read comments that totally dismisses people's feelings. They try to act like feelings don't matter. Feelings is the only thing that matters as far as I'm concerned. And I think, to restrict people and to chastise them and to make them feel awful about what's going on with them. I mean, that is just, it is really something that I'm totally surprised that is so rampant. It's rampant in our culture. It's rampant in our political systems. And I think it's strength. It is a strength to talk about how you feel and what's going on with you. You should be applauded for those things. It is not a sign of weakness to talk about your feelings. Oh my gosh.
Can we just take a moment, everybody here that's with us or that'll watch this video, if you've ever taken the moment to express how you feel, can you just like give yourself a hug or a pat on the back? Mm-hmm. That took so much to do. Can everybody just pause? Like, if you've ever said, that hurt me, or that didn't feel good, or, this made me feel like,
mm-hmm.
Give yourself a hug. Because to be honest, you could have not said nothing, and then you could have just go shot some people.
Yep. That's why they give you a gun and send you off. Like, in my ideal world, things would be totally different than it is now. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I love it.
Does anyone have any questions? We've been talking about accountability. We've been talking about forgiveness. I would love to invite any one of you all up on the stage to unpack, to share. This is like a community. It's not just about me. It's not about Dr. Alicia. It's about all of us getting to a state where we're comfortable with Black love, where we're comfortable to receive good things, and we're healing. More healed people, more healed women, more healed men, more healed LGBTQ, however you may classify yourself. More healing to the world. This world it got so much going on. So much.
Yes. I love it.
What do you think?
There's some new people that joined.
Yes, we got Jano Much. That's Janet. We got Summer Living. We got C-Matt. We got Bree Walton. We got Virgo grad student. We got Sandra Philly. We got A West Fly. Does anybody want to come up? What's good, C-Matt? Does anybody want to come up and talk about healing?
That come in.
Huh?
You always have friends that want to come in.
Yeah, and like it's a lot of Black men that watch this. And what's funny?
Really?
Yes, it's crazy the response to like Black men have been showing up. The more I do this, can I tell you something that happened? Girl, I went to the Apple store this weekend.
Okay.
And I was getting my laptop. I have multiple laptops, but one of them I needed to get it fixed. And I walked into a healed Black man. He was woke. He was a poet. What? He communicated about all of these different communities that healed Black men go to. We talked for 2 to 3 hours. And then we went and found some food. Girl, I was in the restaurant crying because of the healedness of him. Now let me explain. Because I got a whole nother perspective, and I gotta thank that Black man, because without his perspective, I was gonna be showing up a little different. I was showing up a little more raggedy. He had gone through so much in his life. He was actually born of an incarcerated woman, so his mom was in prison when she had him. He didn't meet his mom or see his mom physically, she was in jail, until 2018. 2 years later, in 2020, she got hit by a truck, a 16-wheeler. or 14, whatever. It's a big truck. I forgot. And he had to be the main person handling the grief, the person that was handling like the will, the funeral arrangements, because he was the oldest son. And as he communicated to me the different books that he's read and the different teachings that he follows, and how he literally reads books made by Black women, and he did nothing but affirm me for like 5 hours. And I was like, oh my God, I about fell in love. I ain't gonna lie. I found my Black love all at one time.
Instagram, we should invite him on.
Listen, sis. Look, I didn't slid in the DM, I'm trying to figure it out. But in general, it could have just been a healed Black man, and his intentions was just to be really nice. And to be a healed Black man, he didn't do that in order to gain anything, which is wild. I ain't never been affirmed so much in like 5 hours. And that man didn't want nothing from me. He didn't want nothing. I was like, that's
Were you
right.
Phone number? Were you trying to talk to him?
We got each other Instagram, but the point is, Dr. Alicia, because y'all, she be trying to hook me up so much. Y'all don't know. On the back end, Dr. Alicia be like, you gonna find you some Black love, because at this point it's time, and I'll just be like, LOL, girl, it's ghetto out here. We have two totally different perspectives on Black love. Right now she got her husband. It's becoming. There are healed Black men finding me. They are healed. I'm declaring it. Healed Black men will find Jasmine and Angelica.
If that's the case, and there's something in you that's healed, or he never would have paid you. So there you go.
There you go. And you tell me all the time, I'm lovable. I'm lovable. And I was so vulnerable. I felt so vulnerable, and like, I imagine you in the restaurant crying. And I was like, I cried because of how much he acknowledged how the Black woman is everything that, any Black man could not only want and need, but he had literature. He was reading, I'm talking reading the books of these authors, and how he says, I'm unlearning toxic masculinity, and I lead conversations with other Black men so that we can get better. And there are things that we messed up on. And guess how old he was, Dr. Alicia?
How old?
He was 34.
Okay.
I said, Jesus. But he was also divorced too. So like, I connect a lot with divorced people, because we have a different experience. We've done it one way, it didn't work. We're in another life. We're trying to find out what works best for whatever it is that will make the most sense. But I said to myself, God, you so good, because there are so many women praying and wishing and praying for healed Black men. And my number one question was, what y'all gonna do when you get one? Or when they show up to you? What you gonna do? Girl, I was bawling, crying in the restaurant. I ain't never experienced so much healed Black men in my life. It was a lot of them, man. I was like, whoo, help me, Father. I had to contain myself.
Yeah, I think the beauty of it, and no one needs more forgiveness than your ex. You got to give your ex. Talk about
yeah. Girl, that was an internship. I've forgiven all of them men, and because at the end of the day, I'm in such a different life and space. I needed all of that to get here. I look back over my life and I said, if that relationship would have gone well, I would not have done something. If that relationship would have just done everything, would I be right here right now? And that's not to say that because of all my pain, I'm here right now. But I needed certain things out of all of those people in order to be the person that I am today. And then to go unlearn, relearn, heal, it's all an experience. And to be honest, I would rather have 10 experiences and then end up with one good experience for the rest of my life than to have one experience, get hurt, and never try to love again.
Yeah, and so many people are just, when they haven't, there's so many divorced individuals who carry around with them all of that hurt, and they really, like, it as soon as you see them. You're like, ooh, whoever your wife was really messed you up, because they haven't forgiven them for the pain and the misery that they caused them. and they carry that around with them. So yeah, that level of forgiveness, I think you're connecting with people who forgiven.
Yes.
That's the thing, because there's there's some other people.
It was a lot. I couldn't handle all that positive, healthy masculinity of
Yeah,
affirming and reclaiming. And I said I could just broke down. I wasn't gonna lie. I said I was ready to reproduce right then. I said, Lord, let it be.
we was fertile right there in that.
Girl, that was too much healed. I said, I'm ready. Lord, is this him? You know, because we talked about that last week on how if you meet someone and like they be everything you ever thought they was. But again, you know, that energy got to match after that conversation. So who knows what's going on. But C-Mad asked a really good question. He said, does the proper healing process depend on the individual situation, or is there a universal healing process?
No matter what the situation is, I think all of the principles of healing is real. I mean, the only variation is that most of the time when someone will do you wrong, you don't ever sit down with them and have a real good conversation with them. Have you ever seen that show? I think it was on MTV called Ghosted.
I didn't see that one. I thought you
You
was gonna
didn't
say
see that?
Ivana Fix My Life, because she be making
Oh,
people sit down and have them hard conversations.
like, but do you know that show Ghosted, where it's almost like two people are kind of dating or whatever, and all of a sudden they just disappear and you just don't know who they are. There's a whole show just based on ghosting people, where they bring two people back and they have a conversation like, what happened? I really thought we were having a good relationship. I thought maybe I did something wrong. Could you please explain to me why you just ghosted me? Like, we were supposed to go on a date. You stood me up and then I never heard from you again. You blocked me on social media. I'm sitting here wondering what's going on. Like, I love that show because they are just honestly like, they're like, okay, since you asked the question, I'm just telling you, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready, and I didn't know how to tell you I wasn't ready. I was scared. I was confused. It had nothing to do with you. I'm really sorry. Like, it is the most healing thing in the world. Unfortunately, those types of scenarios don't happen just on that TV show. But it was a beautiful show if you ever watch it. I think they might be on TikTok. They might be on TikTok for sure on YouTube. But
Yes.
but there's some episodes on there. But I mean, it is beautiful. I mean, that would be great. It would be wonderful to have those kind of closure moments. But unfortunately, most issues in life, you'll never find the closure that you're looking for. And you have to make peace. Forgiveness is about making peace with what's happened to you, because it's nothing like being done wrong, and it's nothing like being treated poorly and no one sticks up for you. And no one says, time out, this is wrong. There's no one regulating this. And it's just an awful feeling, because you just walk away feeling rejected and feeling like nothing. I really do think rejection is probably the worst feeling in the world. I don't think anything is worse than rejection. So yeah, it is a tough thing, about forgiveness, and forgiving yourself, because you go back through things you're like, why didn't I notice this? Like, how stupid am I? I need to be wiser. And I don't like it, because when the healing process hasn't taken place, then you go through life with this wound, and it's just, you see everything through this wound. And last week I was asking Dr. Boyce, like, what is it with it's this sort of theme that I was finding in a lot of his words about how men have been wronged. Like, that's a theme in him. And I'm like, did you ever feel like you were wronged? Like, did you ever feel like you were on the receiving end of something? Like, I felt like there was pain underneath what he was talking about. So I was happy that he spoke about it so eloquently, because, you see everything through that eyes. That means that there's something unresolved in that, and you're trying to work it out. So I was happy. With our conversation last week.
I was too. It was very freeing. I feel like we delivering some people tonight. Xavier,
You are
he
so funny.
said, how about doing wrong, but you have grown and was like, I messed up? So do you want to go get that person back? Do you want to have that conversation if it was hard? Like, what do you mean by that? Do you get what he's saying, Dr. Alicia?
Yeah, he's talking about making amends.
Maybe, yeah.
He might be making amends. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a process you need to think about, because in the moment that you did something that you know you should not have done, or maybe you didn't know that you were doing the wrong thing and you thought you were doing the right thing, but looking back on it, you're like, this isn't right. You really do need to get into, how did you feel? What drove you to make that decision? And even it would even be worthwhile to list all of the regrets you have, and for each one of those, pinpoint exactly how you were feeling at the moment you made that choice that you knew you shouldn't have made, or it was a mistake. Pinpoint the feeling behind some of those regrettable things that happen, and I will guarantee you those feelings are probably similar.
He
You know,
said it's years
similar.
later.
Yeah,
It's years later.
yeah, and then you think back on it, what drove me to, what was going on with me? What drove me to make, and then make that choice. And even in writing it out and talking about that is very helpful. I talk, a lot of my clients, I talk about that, because sometimes if it's really awful, it can lead to depression. It could lead to anxiety, mostly depression. You feel terrible about what happened in the past. And it's the process of releasing yourself from all of that. And then make another list of, God, if I knew back then what I now know, what would I have done differently? And talk about that. And then list out, now that I'm wiser, what can I do going forward to make amends, to make up for it? And it's saying, okay, I should have put myself first. I shouldn't have been putting everybody's needs and wants ahead of my own. Now I'm 35 years old and I have no college degree because I was too concerned about other people. Like, there's regrets that you have, or I shouldn't have done that to them. I should have learned from that. Why do I keep doing the same thing over and over again? And it's getting into that. And there's things you can do. It's never too late to forgive. It's never too late to make amends. It's never too late to chart a new course in your life so that you can live your life. I'm telling you, live your best life. Living your best life, no matter what happened in the past. It's never too late.
And C-Man had a question, but for X, I feel that if it's on your heart to go and share with somebody like that, you know that you were wrong and like you processed it. I saw this video and it was just like, not only should you forgive yourself when you maybe were functioning at like a low vibrational energy, you weren't at your highest self, maybe you were in survival mode. There were so many factors, but the true turn is when you go back and apologize and you're able to acknowledge what you did wrong. And I think there's never a wrong time to just maybe send that text or maybe send that email or maybe give that person a call and say, I'm sorry.
Write a letter and mail it, or send it or email it or text it out. Write that letter and then release yourself from it. Or if they're not around, because a lot of people have, or if you don't have access to them, you don't even have, it could be an imaginary, you could talk to a chair, that's part of therapy, talk to an empty chair. I like to put the picture of the person that they, need to ask for forgiveness, put a picture of that person in the chair and read to them as if they're there symbolically. I also think once you're done with it, you might want to take the letter and just burn it.
Okay,
that's always nice.
And C-Man, I promise I'm getting back to you. He said, is that being selfish by asking for that forgiveness?
No, because I don't think it's being selfish at all. If anything, it's being selfless. It's taking out time to not think about necessarily you, but think about what you've done and how it may have impacted someone else. So, it's the contents of the letter needs to be acknowledging the fact that you did it wrong, how they felt, how terrible it was, how they have a legitimate gripe about you. It's really just accepting your part in what happened that fell apart, you know, is really freeing. I think everybody should do that at some point, you know, think back on something that went a certain way where you feel like, you know, they were treated wrong by your actions. It is a wonderful sort of release, and just give it to them and say, you know, I don't expect you to forgive me. I'm doing this for you, but I'm also doing it for myself. And I don't think that's selfish to do things for yourself, to release yourself of that. You feel much lighter. You go along with your day and you don't have that hanging over you. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. Both sides, the forgived person and the person that you've wronged, it's very helpful. Yeah.
Okay, C-Med asks, could you completely heal without forgiveness?
Um, what do you mean without validation from the other person?
Basically, because I
Saying,
talked
yeah,
about like more healed men, and he's like, well, what if I choose not to ever forgive that person? Can I be fully healed? Or does fully healed equal fully forgiven people?
yeah, because if you walk around with that bitterness and that feeling that you've been wrong, you walk around with that, it has an impact on your physical health, your mental health. It has an impact on your ability to love and to live your life the way you're supposed to live. You know, it weighs on you. It's heavy. It's a heavy weight on you, and it can block. It can become blocks for you. And no, I think that you really should work toward letting that go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's
Wow.
possible.
One thing we did at the conference, and you guys, like, I'm African American, I'm Black, and I was born in America. We did this thing at the end of the conference where we wrote down all of our problems on a sheet of paper,
Yeah.
and we wrote down the problems, like the stuff you know you can't solve, the
Yep.
stuff maybe you wish you could be forgiven for but you can't call them, like any family problems, any financial problems. We wrote that stuff down.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the ritual was that the African, the chiefs, they would go over to the country and they would perform a ritual. Again, I don't think nothing's wrong with African stuff, because at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, I only know so much about it because I was over here. If I would have been over there, I've been doing some of this too. Point I'm making is, I think even in therapy, some of the things that I've learned is like write down all of your traumatic experiences
Mm-hmm.
from
Mm-hmm.
the time in which you received your first one up until hell. All of us was traumatic or trauma from 2020, 2021, and now we're reliving whatever because we're all back outside and it's a mess sometimes. And to be able to say, you know what, I wasn't perfect. The people on here may not be perfect. There's some things that I'm just not going to be able to do. And releasing yourself from the feeling that you have to fix everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because some things can't be fixed. But if you acknowledge it, I think that part where you literally acknowledge all the different things, the scenarios, the people that hurt you,
Yeah.
you will be able to walk into, and again, I'm still getting there. I'm not preaching because I got it right, y'all. I swear. You'll be able to walk into another season
Yeah.
of you see people for the good in them versus the bad in them.
Yeah, you know what? I have my clients do that. Write down all their worries. I have them write it down, put all the little details in there, and then we'll talk about it and process it in session. And then at the end of the session, I'd be like, okay, we're done talking about it. Just tear them up and throw them in the trash on your way out. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, just tear them up into little tiny pieces, throw it in the trash, and I'll see you next time. You know, I've done that. I've done that ritual. It is really awesome to do, to write it all down and to just get rid of it.
Get rid
I
of
mean,
it.
the work to do, but it's symbolic. It's a great experience. Yeah, I love that.
And
They
it
had you,
also helps you to let things go.
what conference is this?
That was the Power Networking Conference. At the very
Ah,
end, they had us
okay.
write
No,
stuff down, and the Ghana chief took it and did something with it. I think it's working. My life getting better. Y'all need to come to the Power Networking Conference. Y'all need to go to the conference with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia. It's happening at the end of October. But when I tell you, it's just like you would imagine all of that stress that you holding up here, it's in your gut, it's in your body, it's right here, it's on your shoulders, it's the pressure in your head, it's the headaches that you receive randomly, it's you not being able to go to the toilet properly. All of this stuff is spiritual and physical when you are holding on to things that you gotta release.
Yeah, and the thing is that your future is dictated by what you know inside your heart.
Ooh.
That's what plays out in your future. So when these things happen, if you're carrying all this around in your heart, then it's gonna keep happening to you. It's gonna keep catching up with you because that predicts your future. What you know to believe is true in your heart, that's your future.
Mm.
It can't work any other way. I mean, there's no getting around it. Yeah. So anything you could do to lighten up the load and to free yourself and to give yourself freedom, because really when you're holding grudges and you don't forgive, it's like being in a prison. It's like you're imprisoning yourself. So if you want to be free and you want peace in your life, you got to let all that stuff go.
That's so good. Mm-hmm. Does anybody have any other questions for Dr. Alicia? She's just a wealth of knowledge, like, you guys. She even has coaching and counseling sessions. She does matchmaking. She trying to help you find your boo. Heal you first, then help you find your boo. Okay, and I love that for not only for her but for the Black community, because matchmaking isn't something that's new. Other cultures do it, and they have a higher return on investment because marriage is not always about love. It's about all the other components.
Oh yeah.
Have you sustaining whatever it is that you build.
Yeah, I mean, love is not enough to get married. It's essential, I think. I think it's essential, but it is not. Just because you love somebody, you do not need to marry them. There's got to be more than just that. Way more than just love. Yeah.
Des Coop said, I hear about so many toxic traits to watch out for in dating. How do we do that while opening up to trust them?
Yeah, that's a good, I mean, I don't know why, like, it's a good question. And I always talk about how you need to take it slow. You need to observe, you need to watch, you need to figure out what you want. I mean, there's some must-haves. You need to make this list of what you must have in a relationship, some things that are negotiable. I mean, you do need to know who you are and what you want in life. I do think that you need to reflect on how you feel when you're around that person, because I've always gotten I can read people really well because I have learned to trust how I feel when I'm around someone. So there's a lot of people I meet. Jazz, I meet a lot of people.
Oh, yes.
I meet a lot of people, a lot of different types of people. And I go with, I'm a little viber. I'm kind of a viber and a planner together. I'm a balance of the two, but I do go on my vibes. And I have yet to be wrong about people. So, but I am too. So I'm a balance of the two. But I do, when it's time for me to assess things, and I'm in Dr. Boyce's ear, of course, and I'm just like, I don't know about that person. I'd be hesitant. I mean, and that's why you really do need to be in tune with who you are and how you feel, and all of these things have a good anchor, because that will help you be able to read other people. And you have to trust yourself, and how you read other people. But time will tell. Pay attention to them. Ask them about their past relationships. What happened? If it's all them and not about you, well, that person was crazy and that person was crazy and that person was crazy. You're like, okay, all right. Just take it all in. You can't hide who you are for long, even if you tried.
Maybe one of our last questions is how to build your discernment muscle. Because discernment is not given freely to everybody. I'm a victim of not having a good discernment because I see the best out of people, but I be feeling it, but I don't trust it. But it'd be like, I should have, right? But it's like, how do you really build that discernment muscle properly?
Oh, it comes from, for me, I will say it comes from meditation. I meditate all the time. I try to stay very grounded because that helps you with discernment. I'm very reflective, and it just comes to me because I practiced it for so long. But I do have a very spiritual, meditative side to me that I've developed, and the way I develop it is not going to be at all the way anyone else develops. I think it is unique to everybody. I cannot give you my formula because what works for me is not going to resonate with you. So you have to find your unique way, and we all going to get to the same point of having discernment. But it really is, and I think that when you have conversations with yourself, however you do it, however you talk to yourself in dreams, and there's a whole bunch of different methods that I use, and it grows because really your subconscious mind is saying, oh, she's paying attention. Let me give her some more information. And you get really wonderful. It's a wonderful process. It can come as a feeling, you can test these things out. I mean, I think that really I would start, if anything, I would start with meditation. Help you discern. I meditate before I see clients. At the end of the day, when I'm done seeing clients, I take a very long shower. Like the water bill is probably really high. It's because I have to wash all of that away because I absorb everything that they have because I want to do a good job. I'm not clairvoyant, but I want to be, I want to be able to really be there. And so, there's a process. That's just my process. I don't know. For some people, it could be a long walk. It could be whatever it is, but you really have to be in tune with yourself first. And then you could, and be in tune. What's interesting is that I went somewhere today and someone walked up to me and said, I bet you're a therapist. And I said, how'd you know? And they said, I can just tell because there's something calming, there's something about you. And a bunch of people were saying, yeah, that's so true. And I'm like, doesn't everybody act like this? And they're like, no, everybody does not act like that. So it's just weird. So, and it's a long process. It's really turning on your light in a way. Like we all are light bearers in a way. When you turn your light on, other people with their light on, so to speak, is there. And light just means you're just in tune. You're in tune with yourself. And you come across that way very peacefully to people.
Wow. I mean, like I said, you can't be around this type of conversation week after week after week and not transform into your highest self. You can't be listening to podcasts and reading books and really being intentional with your mind, your space, and not accepting like the bare minimum that society tries to give you. I remember literally you was like, no, Jasmine, you're gonna find 5 minutes to give to yourself. And like literally I'm on my journey of meditating like consistently for like 21 days so I can build a habit. But I find myself in moments where I could probably have anxiety or I could probably get stressed out. It's just like, hey, no, I just need to meditate. I just need to get back to a good space.
Yeah, and I know the word meditation is negative to some people, and they're like, if you're very religious, it's okay to be religious. If you're very religious, call it prayer. Same thing. Whatever it is, so I don't want to downplay other people's method. So it's unique to you. So some people, it could be reading scriptures. Okay, that works. It all works because the Bible is nothing. Well, there's different ways of looking at the Bible. You can see the Bible as a historical text. You can see the Bible as an allegory. You can see the Bible as charting the stars. Like it's it means different to everybody else, and it's okay. Past judgment that. But for people who see the Bible as an allegory, it can definitely clear up a lot of things for you instead of a historical piece, or both. Maybe, I don't know how people feel about it, but for some people it could be prayer is important. But I call it meditation because that's what I use. And it's okay. Right.
And for me, I've been doing prayer and meditation. Like I pray and then I need to settle my mind. Like I've released it to him, but also my mind may still have some stuff there. So I'm going to sit with me. And I feel like for so long, maybe we just not learned how to calm the mind. That's why they say to go to prayer and therapy. It's like, or, go to church and therapy. It's like, you got to calm. If you can tame this, you will become so powerful because you'll be more in a state of, I'm responding to this, but I'm not reacting to it. It's like, if you wake up, like for me, like I'm waking up at 5 a.m, but if I look at my calendar and I have these types of meetings, if I get to my meeting and I haven't prepared for that, I'm just gonna react to it, like, right? But if I come to that meeting and I've already been centered, I'm gonna talk better, I'm gonna think better, I'm gonna have better solutions. I'm gonna be able to look at this conversation for what it is, not play my emotions in there based off what I did yesterday or last week, or be super triggered. It's just like, I'm gonna be present. So what it's like mastering listening. It's a completely different perspective, but mastering listening, mastering calming the mind, sitting with yourself. You talked about grounding. A lot of times we haven't been taught, like, what does that look like? Just walking outside, like paying attention. That's really what it is. Learning to pay attention. It's a switch, but it heightens your awareness.
Yeah, and I think when you do just what you talked about, you won't even have to worry about being manipulated by somebody because you can't be manipulated. You can't be.
Yeah, you just like,
no one else outside of you is deciding which way you go. You're not letting anybody ruin your day. You decide when your day is ruined. You decide when you want to get mad. You decide when you want to be happy. It's all up to you. You make that choice. And you have to believe in it. And you have to know it, and you have to believe in what you know.
Yes, and you be like, I meditated so hard today. This situation ain't even gone. Like, it's not about to. It's okay. Like, whatever you're going through, you be able to say, man, you going through something. How can I be there for you? No, and not like you got to save them, but you're not taking it personally on how that other person energy is coming at you. It's different. I'm telling you that. When I tell you God is doing something over here, like, I must have released some additional stuff after my Apple visit. Because I look at life a really different way. I got hope for society now. I got hope for the Black world.
You were hopeless a few weeks ago, and I was.
Oh, I was. I will say it to the mountaintops. I was absolutely hopeless. But I feel like the hope is there, and that there are some healed Black men, healed Black women coming, and they are not going to have some of the challenges that we had before. They're going to navigate conflict. They're going to forgive. They're going to hold people accountable. I'm speaking it into existence, because if I speak the other stuff, it'll never come. But if I speak it into existence,
well,
a change is going to come.
Well, it is true. You just have to walk around knowing that that's what it is. I know that's.
And that's what I picked up, and I'll tell you, like, I learned that from you, Dr. Alicia. You like, no, there are tons of Black men that are just waiting to receive.
There's an abundance.
There's an abundance.
Yes.
And that shook me for so long until I get it. There's an abundance.
Yes, there's an abundance of everything.
There's an abundance.
Do what's right to attract it. It gravitates to you. That's what you meditate on. There's an abundance, and it's all coming to me. Woo. Meditate on that.
There's an abundance, and it's all coming to me.
There's an
abundance, and it's all coming to y'all. There's an abundance. It's coming to y'all. Somebody should have put some hearts on that. There ain't no abundance coming to y'all. I should have got some hearts.
We don't have to have hearts. It's okay. It's those that believe it's true, they know it's true. We don't need to have hearts.
Makes sense.
Aren't you something? Okay, well, let me get out of here.
I always keep you longer than expected. Y'all thank Dr. Alicia for her time. And enjoy the rest of y'all's night. And we'll see y'all next week for another episode of the Drama Free Black Love series. Have a good day. Bye, y'all.